Welcome to the Stogie Geek Show, episode 61. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Stogie Geek Show. I'm your host, Paul Asadorian. We're here kicking it live in Studio B. Sitting across from me is none other than Mark Jr.
I sure am.
Expert Steve is in the house with his Oliva G's.
Many of
Special G's, that's what they call them.
Special G's.
Special G's.
The OG.
Oh, jeez.
Mr. William Cooper, otherwise known as Cigar Coop, is on the lines via Skype. Welcome,
Hey, guys.
So tonight we had a little bit of scheduling snafu. So I figure why not make that work to our advantage? And rather than smoke whatever we were scheduled to smoke on this show, I said let's smoke epic smokes. So let's go into our humidors. We seem to be doing this more and more lately. We reach into our humidors.
I know, because we need excuses to
We
do this.
we do. And, you know, those cigars that were waiting for a special occasion, this is our special occasion. Mark Jr., what did you decide to smoke?
Padron Millenium. Number 0234437.
That's awesome.
This is like the third one of these that I've smoked ever.
This week? Or
Sure. And, you know, it's probably you should smoke them if you have them at this point. So that's why I went with it. And it's still really delicious. It's just lost some of the kick that it's had back then.
yeah.
But I'll tell you what, in the very beginning here, it's got this like really creamy, like bready, like toasty type flavor to it. That's really incredible. So
That has to be one of the most flavorful smokes I think I've ever had in terms of just sheer flavor. Will, what are you smoking?
I'm smoking one of my favorites, which is the Avo Limited Edition 10. So this was the 2010 release of Avo's cigar, and this is just one of my personal favorites.
Nice. What is what kind of flavors do you get off those?
There's a lot going on with this cigar. You get some pepper. You're going to get some of that, what I call cocoa powder, a little that bittersweet cocoa powder. You'll get a little cedar on there, a little bit of cherry sweetness in the background. It's a very complex cigar, but very enjoyable.
Interesting. I'm going to have to seek some more of those out. I may have one.
No, I couldn't picture it in my head. And now that I just looked up a picture of the box, yeah, those are great. Those are
a lot
great.
of people, a lot of people like the 9, the Compañero, which is absolutely, you could make an argument that's an epic smoke as well, but I just preferred the 10.
Well, they went through a hot streak there. 2009, 2010, and 2011 were all fantastic.
Yeah, this was a very full for an Avo. This is one that's much fuller and much more amped up in strength.
I agree.
Yeah, can't disagree with you on that one, buddy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, how about you, Paul?
I'm trying to get Will's video on there. Yeah, Steve, you just start Ustream on there with presenter, and I should be able to pick up on you.
That's why we have an expert.
That's why we have an expert. So I'm smoking an Opus X BBMF Maduro. And already, I'm not even like a little ways past the bulb here, but already I'm picking up that dark cherry sweetness. It's really good.
It's going to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all in for a good night of smoking cigars. You drinking anything over there, Coop?
Just some coffee.
Just some coffee?
Yeah, I was a little worried before the show. I had a little bit of a headache, and I was like, oh, man, I don't know how I'm going to get through Epic Smoke, but I headed it off, so
There you go.
Yeah,
I'm just going to stick to coffee tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
I decided to bust out an epic bottle of bourbon for our epic smokes night, and
that's the other reason I do epic smokes night is that Mark Jr. breaks out epic bottles of bourbon.
Yeah, so it's an Eagle Rare 17-year-old. This is one of the 6 Buffalo Trace Antique Collection bottlings that comes out yearly in the fall. They go for about $80 a piece. It's like I said, it's a 17-year. It's 90 proof. This one happened to be bottled in the fall of 2010. It has a nice long story on the back about how they equate bourbon with freedom, and some of you may know about the Whiskey Rebellion and things of that nature. So bourbon has its storied past here in the United States, but according to Wine Enthusiast magazine, I'm going to quote them directly. The tasting notes are: the nose is a dark candied fruit, cigar boxes and cinnamon. The palate is delicate and dry with hints of leather, vanilla, and tobacco, and the finish is lingering with hints of coffee, or toffee for that matter. This deep burnished gold whiskey has a somewhat fragrant nose, and the aromas develop an almost wine-like character with a hint of almonds lurking in the backdrop. The body is big and silky, and the palate is far spicier than the nose leads you to believe. But there are also some violet notes here, along with a touch of caramel and a hint of old leather. The finish is very leathery and very long. They gave it a 96, which is a very high rating for Wine Enthusiast. I have to agree with them that this is a really complex bourbon. It's
I thought they were describing the Padron Millennium.
Oh.
Ha!
I happen to have both. No, it's quite a good bourbon too. So if you guys see it around, they should be showing up around October. Try and get your hands on some. They're good.
I wanted to say that this was the Opus X BBMF Maduro that was gifted to me by listener Gravity. And I do have a bunch of smokes to send Gravity, which I have not sent out yet, but I do have them. And they will be sent over to him.
Sweet.
This bourbon is so good.
Hey, Mark, in terms of a 96, is that like Cigar Aficionado giving a 96 to a cigar in terms of, that type of rating?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's out of 100. You don't really see stuff go below 70, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always found that interesting about those rating systems.
It's like the SATs. You get a 50 for just showing up, dude. Just getting it on the market, you get a 50.
For your name.
It's true. All right. Let's go through what we've been smoking. Mark Jr., I'll start with you.
All right. So the first thing I smoked, and I know, Paul, it's on your list as well, is the Aroa Prensado. It's from his newest line. They just started showing up after IPCPR.
Oh, did you add more? I got it. Yep.
It's a 4 by 48 box 48 box pressed Rothschild. It's a Honduran Puro. First of all, I have to admit I wasn't even going to try this at first. I have not been the biggest fan of his or really Honduran Puros in general. But I do have to say that this had really nice flavors and perfect construction. And if I can say anything, it was even had like a sweetness to it, which I never get from Honduran Puros. I always get like overwhelming earthy flavors and really dry, a dry smoking experience. This was none of that. Well, it was obviously earthy, but it wasn't dry. It had a sweetness to it. This may be my favorite Honduran Puro ever, and it's a 5er all day, I think. So,
I think I agree with your assessment of the 5er. I said try one. I wasn't a big fan of it. I mean, I thought it was good. I think that I found it to be somewhat unbalanced. I think that it starts off with a ton of spice, which settles down. You get some different flavors that I couldn't place, but nothing in the Honduran flavor profile.
I think I was so excited about it because it was a Honduran Puro that I didn't throw out halfway through.
Yeah.
Which really isn't fair, but at the same time, I was just kind of excited to smoke something that was Honduran that I liked.
Right.
So.
I will try another one. It just didn't have the wow factor for me that I was looking for. It's definitely way better than like a CLE or anything else coming out of the kind of some of the new Aroa blends. Although Asylum really continues to impress me.
I smoked the Robusto of that.
Yeah,
this
that's what we
week.
smoked. Yeah.
No, he smoked the size up.
Oh, we smoked the smaller size. Sorry.
Yeah. And this is a rounded one. I thought it was, of all the cigars now I've gotten from IPCPR, that one's ranking at the top. And I got that sweetness as well on it, which I thought was fantastic. A lot of baker spice type flavors as well.
So
I do agree, Paul, a little maybe.
I'm sorry. What you called it? Baker spice.
Baker's spice.
What do you mean by baker spice?
It's a spice where you get a little more of that cinnamon type of, not necessarily a pepper, but more of a sweet spice, I call it.
Yeah, I would agree. The spice was different for me. I like how you kind of qualified the spice.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like a black pepper or red pepper. I do agree, Paul. Maybe there was a little of the balance might have been off on that. I could see that, but it was a box worthy cigar in my book.
Okay.
On the Stogie Geek scale, I put it at the box worthy in my book. I really like the Robusto. I've not smoked the Prensado, so I can't comment on that.
I'm gonna revisit.
Maybe I should try a Robusto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna revisit.
Sweet.
I really liked it.
Let's see. Over to my list. I scrolled down. So the first one was a L'Atelier Surrogates Crystal Baller. I think both Tim and Mark Jr., in fact, reviewed this cigar on the show. So it felt like it was my turn. So you probably already know, since you listen to every Stogie Geeks episode religiously, right?
Of course.
That it's an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, a Nicaraguan binder, and filler. It's a Corona Gorda at 5.75 by 56. I thought this was a great smoke. It had outstanding flavors. It burned great. I really enjoyed it. It picked up an intensity at the end. I would buy more. I don't know if I would do a box split, but it's a solid fiver. I mean, this is something that I want to have in my humidor.
You know, I need to go back and look for my assessment on that.
Your assessment might have been try one? Or
Yeah,
Tim's was try one. I think Tim,
mine was try one.
You might have rated it both a try one.
I had weird construction issues on mine.
Oh,
if
okay.
I remember back, it was like really burned weird on me.
Mine burned perfectly straight. However, there were points where I thought I should have been getting more smoke, but there was no evidence of a void.
Okay.
So I'm glad you brought that up. But I had it with coffee. Actually, they make this awesome coffee. I guess it's time to plug the Havana Cigar Club.
Okay.
You can go to our website, stogiegeeks.com, print off your $5 off coupon for your first visit to the Havana Cigar Club. They make this awesome iced Americano. So they do a tall espresso and then put it over ice. And that's what I drank with this. It was awesome. Awesome.
So
By
they mix
far
it with cold water and ice.
Cold
then.
water and ice, yes. It's
Well, that's going to happen.
It's quite tasty. Whitney. I don't know about how anyone else makes them, but Whitney makes the best iced coffee drinks there, and it was really good.
Fantastic.
So I like this one better than you and Tim like. I think my rating of the fiver was probably the best rating that we had given this one. I liked it better than the Tramp Stamp. I had the Tramp Stamp today. I thought it was a little more power, and not a lot of balance and complexity. I didn't get it. I thought it was good. Don't get me wrong. I think they're both fiver, but if I had to pick, I'd say Surrogates.
Wow. Okay.
And you really liked the
Yeah. You
Tramp
and I are
Stamp.
pretty much on the same page when it comes to
I
smokes,
did like
but we
the
are
ba-
definitely
I did like-
flip-flopping that guy.
I did like the band on the Tramp Stamp. I'll hold it up here for the
It has
camera.
a tramp stamp.
It has a Tramp Stamp tattoo on it, and Tramp Stamp's written in that like 1970s kind of style font where you just associate with loose, intoxicated women.
Nice.
So,
All right. Well, my next one was a San Latano.
oh, I'm sorry. Mark, I just wanted to go to Will and
Oh,
see
okay.
what Will has been smoking.
Well, actually, this week I smoked the George Rico SDK American Puro.
What is who is George Rico?
It's Gran Habano.
Oh, okay.
So they came out with a cigar with all American tobacco, and it is another cigar that contains fire cured leaf. So it's a Connecticut Habano wrapper, Connecticut Habano binder, with Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and Kentucky filler, and the Kentucky filler is fire cured. So you're getting more Habano on that. I found that the campfire smokiness, it was a little amped down compared to when I smoked the Lekia Black. You were getting much more of that Habano spice off of it. So it wasn't something that you're going to get overpowered with the fire cured, but you could still taste it in there. I saw, there was also some bready notes in there. It was a nice cigar. I'd say it's a cigar that had a lot of body. So the flavors were very rich in it. It wasn't overpowering in terms of strength, probably more of a medium to full on that. I'd put it as a try one.
Fair
It's
enough.
worth trying it, yeah. It's not for everybody. It's not going to be for everybody, that smoke.
I just want to say that right now I'm in heaven with the bourbon that Mark brought over and my Opus X BBMF Maduro.
I'm jealous.
I apologize if you lose me occasionally. I'm lost.
I think all three of us are going to get lost at some points today. So I'm going to apologize in advance.
I mean,
I didn't know if I was rambling on here. So that's
no. My
okay.
Before I don't want to talk too much about what I'm smoking and drinking. I want to get back to Will's point though of an all-American cigar with fire-cured tobacco is certainly unique. And so basically your assessment was it wasn't bad, but it's not something you'd maybe reach for all the time, right?
It's not something I reach for all the time. It's definitely something I'd try one. I don't know if I'm quite ready to go for a 5-pack of it yet. It was a pre-release, so I'm thinking it may mellow a bit in terms of some of the spice.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, so I've got a lot of cigars. We'll go back to Mark. We're on Mark.
All right, I have the San Latano Habano Lancero. This was gifted to me by Stogies Santa. It's there's not a lot of stuff out there specifically about it on the internet because it is a B&M exclusive.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But I would assume it's a 7x38 Lancero. It's standard Lancero size.
I think you're right.
If it is the exact same as the other San Latano Habanos, it's a Brazilian Habano wrapper. The binder is Nicaraguan, and the filler is Dominican, Honduran, and Nicaraguan. I don't know. I thought it was largely unremarkable, to be honest with you, to me, right? As a matter of fact, as I was writing up my review, I take notes while I smoke it, and my note was no flavor.
Really?
Yeah, and what I think I meant, what I was trying to tell future Mark at the time was it just tasted like tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
To me, right? And it might. I know that this is a very popular brand for some people, and if you
a lot of people, that brand is actually doing really well.
Yeah, if you like the blend,
here in New England,
then you'll probably really like this cigar. The construction was very good. I have no problems with the construction at all. It just, it was a try one. Try one if you like that brand.
See, now I liked that cigar.
Yeah?
I think I reviewed it on the show and gave it a 5 at least.
I think we're disagreeing today.
Yeah.
See, I didn't like the Lancero with that one. This is one of those cigars that just did not work in a Lancero. That one. The Habano's an okay cigar. It never blew me away. I actually like the Connecticut better. Yeah, I mean, I just think this is one where everyone gets a lot excited about Lanceros. This is not one I would get excited about a Lancero about.
I don't know that I've smoked a San Latano that I've rated above a 5.
No.
Would you say any of them are box worthy that you smoked? And I've done some pretty good sampling of that line too, because they did a little event at Joyles.
I've probably smoked. I know I smoked the Connecticut that Will is talking about. I smoked a Habano. Now I smoked a Habano Lancero. I know I smoked an Oval, and I know I smoked an Oval Maduro. And I don't know. They were all either try one or 5 for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I would agree, but I love the Connecticut.
Okay.
The Connecticut is a very different Connecticut. It's one of those cigars we were talking a little before the show. I don't think it's held up with age, though.
Got it.
So when they came out, they were great.
Let's see. Next up on my list, I have an El Rey del Mundo Petite Corona. This is from a vintage collection. This was from 1998. This is another one. Well, this is another fantastic smoke. I did have to poke it twice. I was determined. I'm not letting this one go. I poked it twice, and I was able to smoke it, actually. The earth and cedar flavors really came together and just created this awesome Cuban flavor profile. It's very different, I think, than any of the Cuban variety. Again, I think the El Rey del Mundo, this brand in particular, definitely has a more earthy profile, and it definitely came through here. It's not as earthy as the Robusto size one I smoked. This one's got a little more of that cedary kind of component to it. It's a solid smoke. It would have been better had I not been able to poke it. I wouldn't know if I'd rush out and buy a box of these. I don't know. And did I smoke with the newer El Rey del Mundos? Have you guys smoked any of the newer El Rey del Mundos? It's kind of hard to tell because this thing from 1998, I was like, even though I had to poke it, it still poured flavor. Like I'm
Sure.
still smoking it, and I enjoyed it tremendously.
I like some El Rey del Mundo stuff. It's not my favorite.
Yeah, it's
brand.
different, right?
Yeah, it's very different, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's not my favorite. Like a Hoyo de Monterrey,
Yeah.
I like better, right?
Yeah.
Or I like Montes or Partagas better. But as like a change of pace or something like that, it's cool. But it goes back to my general sentiment on the Cubans. Like, you have to buy a box.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
I don't know if I'd want a whole box of these.
Yeah.
Will, what's your assessment on the El Rey del Mundo?
I kind of agree. It's I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of Cubans, but that one just uninspires me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, if you smoked one from 1998, you would smoke the whole
Yeah,
thing.
that's fair. I have not smoked one from 1998.
Tobacco just does special things when it ages that long. Mark, back to you. I think, or Will. Did you smoke anything? No, I don't remember where we are. Mark, I'm going to go back to you, and then with Will. Is
Okay.
it okay.
All right. I smoked a LFD Factory Press Limitado. This is new from the show. It was a sample brought back to us. It's a 6 1/4 by 60 box press Gordo. But
So
I
wait,
will
hold
say
on.
it did not feel like a 60 ring.
No, it
at
didn't
all.
look like a 6
No.
ring because Stogie Sandy gave it to me to give to you, and it's a factory press limitado.
Yeah,
Because I thought limitado was separate from factory press,
it is.
so they merged them together.
In the name, at least.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, it was very good. It was a Ecuadorian dark Sumatra wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, Dominican filler. They're a little pricey. They're a lot pricey actually. They're $14.50 a piece.
Yeah.
As with most of their limited editions are, kind of pricey. But I've been a huge, I'll repeat it again, huge fan of all of their factory press lines so far.
Yes.
I thought that they were all fantastic, and this one lived up. It had nice spice, nice pepper. It had some cocoa. It was very similar to other ones that it was what I was expecting from a
Right.
factory press. The burn was a little bit funky, but nothing like factory presses. So
Yeah,
I was
before-
very excited to smoke it.
Yeah, LaFleur was one of the booths I just couldn't get to. They were very busy. They really were active there, so I did not get there.
Do you like a lot of LaFleur stuff?
Yeah, I do. I got last year with the Oro, and I liked the Limitado 5 last year. I thought they were great. I'm a big fan of the Lajero line as opposed to the double Lajero line. I just love that Lajero line.
I like the Cabinet Lajero line. If you want to get if you want to be even more specific.
Yeah,
They age phenomenally. I
absolutely.
think. Yeah. No, LaFleur's like a hit or miss line for me, but when they hit, they're very good to me.
Yeah. See, like Airbender was a big miss. Factory
me
Press
too.
4 didn't really do it for me either.
Their light line I heard wasn't very good. I don't think I've smoked.
That
Have I
double
smoked
Claro wasn't very good either.
No, I didn't like that either.
So Will, what have you been? What else you been smoking?
Okay, I smoked one of the Tatuaje 10th anniversary, the special ones, which is the ones they just released this year in the new sizes. This one was the Bon Jesur, which was the 5 3/8 by 52 Parejo. I don't know. This one was a big disappointment. It was a cigar just didn't keep my interest. It had a lot of nuts, earths, pepper, but didn't really. Stogie Santa says he can't decide where a smoke's going to go. I just wasn't. This was a big disappointment considering all the brouhaha around the 10th anniversary line, and I do like brown labels. So this is. I don't know if this size just didn't work, but the more I thought about it, I think Pete's come a long way since Brown Label, and that he's really just become a better blender. And Brown Label's going back to something from the very beginning. So I don't know if it's just something that maybe it's just I'm no longer interested in it. It was medium strength, medium body, so it didn't really set me on fire. It's an angler in my book.
Okay.
Interesting.
I don't know if you guys have smoked that yet.
I haven't tried that size, but I tried the other new size, the Bel Ancre, the double Perfecto type
Right.
size, and I've really liked those. Actually, I've probably smoked 2 or 3 of them now.
Really?
Yeah, and
What was some of the things you got out of that?
it was, well, I mean, if you've smoked a brown label, you smoked a brown label, in my
Right.
opinion, right? But the one thing that I liked about this one is that it dissipated. It started out a little bit strong, and then it in the middle it lightened up a little bit, and then got stronger again at the end. It wasn't more about the flavors; it was more about the experience, right? That I really liked.
And
about
that size
cigar.
is going to give you a
Yeah, and I just thought it was a hit on that size, right? I still like the brown labels, but I like to age the shit out of them when I get them.
And that may be a lot why I didn't like the Bon Chasseur. It's it's new. You're right. They do taste better aged.
And the 10th
yeah, like a box of
anniversary-
Noeas. If you buy them, don't even smoke them. Just throw them away. You know.
The 10th anniversary, they didn't change the blend. They just changed the band.
As far as I know, and they wet packed them. That's the other thing too.
Yeah, they didn't. And this is a new. This 10th anniversary that I smoked was a new size, along with the Bella Ancre that Mark mentioned. They're new sizes that are just being done this year.
And wet packing is just they put wax paper around them? Or it's not wax paper, but it's that paper?
It's foil. They put
Foil.
it in foil. Yeah,
You call it foil?
right.
don't
So instead
know-
of aging them in the aging room, they go right into the box with the foil.
Gotcha. Hence wet packing.
Okay.
Alrighty, back to me. Let's see. I smoked a Padron Churchill Maduro. Were these Churchills, those ones that Stogies Santa?
I thought they were Landres.
No,
But
it was.
no,
This was.
definitely
This was.
wasn't.
I mean, it looked like a Churchill.
Oh well, maybe you had a different size than me. Then,
Maybe.
too.
Maybe. This was ridiculously old. It's everything you'd expect from an aged Padron, with just, I think, a little less flavor than usual. It wasn't as balanced, which I know is weird, right? But the flavors were kind of more muted than normal. My standards were pretty high for this particular smoke. I do recommend that if you're going to buy the Padron, the regular Padron line in Maduro, right? Sizes like the Robusto, the Panatella, the Landres, and the 6000 tend to be much better. This one, I'm pretty. I wish Stogies Santa was here to tell me for sure, but I'm pretty sure this was a Churchill. The Churchill's like 7x49, and that's exactly what. I mean, if you look at the picture, that looks like a Churchill, right?
So what? When you say Robusto, that's what, the 2000? I think
that's a 2000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even new, those Robustos are awesome.
And the Landres are too.
Yeah, absolutely. Panatellas, all great.
Yep.
Back to you, Mark.
Well, why don't we give Coop a shot here?
Oh, did I keep messing that up. Sorry.
That's okay. I smoked a new cigar by a new company. The company's called Roberto Duran Cigars. It's not Roberto Duran the boxer, but it's Roberto Duran, a blender who's been around for a while. He launched a line of cigars called the Azan, A-Z-A-N, and this is the Azan White Label Premium. This was a real good cigar. It's got some nice cocoa. It's got a little bit of that caramel sweetness. Some of the bready notes in there. A little floral spice. It's not a very strong cigar. It's a medium strength, so it's not going to give you a nicotine rush. But the flavors were real heavy and they were real bold in terms of what I got from that. It was an enjoyable cigar. I think these guys are going to make some noise this year with this particular blend. It's definitely, I'd say, it's a box split in my book.
Okay.
Just
So
Azan.
Roberto Duran Azan is the name of the...
Roberto Duran Cigars is the company. Azan, A-Z-A-N, is the line. And they have several blends in the Azan line. Just a little history. Azan is an old Cuban line that was resurrected. So this was some cigar in pre-embargo Cuba that was around. It was popular. And apparently they got the name, they brought the name back, and they're putting these blends under that name.
Cool. That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. I think these guys are going to be doing some good things this year.
You want to do one of mine?
Yeah. You got a lot more than me.
La Aurora Preferido Corojo, the gold tubo, is what I smoked. Now, these have some age on them. I want to say that I went on auction a couple of years ago, and I bought a box of 10 of each of the different colored La Aurora Tubos. A box 10 of each one. So this is the gold. I don't even remember the last time I smoked one of these. I don't think we've ever featured it on the show. I did some searching.
Remember it, yeah.
I know we've done the silver tube. We've done
Cameroon.
the Cameroon. Right? We've done the emerald,
which is Ecuador. I think,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
We've definitely done the ruby.
Maduro.
This is the first time we've done the gold, which is the Corojo. So this is a 5x54 Perfecto Dominican Corojo wrapper, Dominican binder. The filler is Piloto Cubano, Bahia, and Cameroon, which is interesting. It's a medium strength. I really enjoyed this one. It had some great flavors to go with my coffee in the morning. It definitely had almost like a nutty profile, which, whatever reason, it just really paired well with my coffee. It was a little strong to have with my coffee in the morning, but it was a nice toasty and rich flavors that were present, making it an enjoyable experience. I would buy more of these. At the price, I want to say these are roughly $14 to $16 usually in that price range.
If you get them full price,
yeah. I would do a box split of these, or buy a box of 10 like I did, would be my recommendation. They age really well, and they come in pretty tubes. I mean, how can you go wrong? They're pretty. Have you smoked this one? Yeah, either Mark Jr. or Will?
I've not smoked that one. That's probably one of the ones in that I have not smoked.
It's pretty good. Give it a shot. I'm curious to hear what you guys think of it.
Yeah. Have you given the Black Diamond a shot?
Oh, yeah. That's
damn right.
That's awesome.
Oh, you better believe it. Yeah.
Those are going to be on our I'm going out on a limb here. That's going to be on our Epic cigars.
Absolutely.
In the future.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
With some age on those things are going to be fantastic.
$18? They're priced higher than the rest of the Preferio line.
Yeah.
Connecticut
but it's
baby.
It's good.
It is good. Now you make me think I want to go buy more. This shows a drain on my wallet, too. I know our listeners tell us that. But the day after the show, I'm always going to the cigar store, and I'm like, oh, we talked about this, and we were drooling over it. I got to go buy a few more. Mark Jr., back to you.
I revisited, did a redo of sorts on the Viaje Zombie Super Shot. It's a, it's the Super Shot, so it's a 3.5 by 54 Rothschild Nicaraguan Puro with a Criollo 98 wrapper. They were $7.50 a piece. I talked about this in the past, and I wasn't very pleased with it, and I'm still not. It's been probably 4 or 5 months since these came out, guys? Maybe 4 months?
About that.
4 months, yeah.
Yeah. They haven't. It hasn't gotten any better to me. It's still very dry and almost all strength. But, hey, if you like them, smoke them. I'd say Angler.
Yeah, I think that's the moral of the story.
I think it's got to be a try one, right?
Yeah.
It's not an Angler smoke at 3.5 by 54.
Right. And we do rate a lot of smokes try one, and I do realize that that's a lot of buying, but I think the reason we're saying try one is because it just didn't fit our flavor profile, maybe.
Sure.
Like, there may be people out there that would really, really enjoy them. You know?
Some people are out there, like, really liking these things,
and, exactly.
And, so be it. You like those.
So don't be put off by try one, because
right.
It doesn't suck. We're not saying it sucks. Will, have you tried any of the zombie super shots or any of the?
I actually like the zombie super shot. I thought it was. I do like the Criollo. The first one they came out with, I think, is still the best.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Now we could talk about that, right? I thought the first one was good. I thought the second one was actually a little better, especially if you got it in the Corojo. The Corojo. And then I thought the white label super shot that just came out was awesome.
Really?
Oh, I agree. That one, whatever they did with, in terms of, that was supposedly a mistake, but I think the size and the ring gauge was like perfect for that.
I thought that was simultaneously both the best white label and the best super shot they made.
That's a good, absolutely.
And that came out the same time as the zombie one.
Yes.
So yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
I think I bought a bunch of those.
I bought way more than I probably needed to.
And, a lot of stores, I think, still have them. So if some of the listeners or watchers see it.
Like, we need to get on that. Get on that shit.
They still have them.
Yep.
We should get on that. Will, what else have you been smoking?
Okay, I smoked this the newest Ortega Wild Bunch, which is the Wild Bill Cheroot. I'm not sure why they called it a cheroot. It's actually a Corona Gorda. Um, yeah, so
You mean
it's
it's
the
not
first.
it's not clipped on both ends?
Yeah, it's not a spaghetti western
Yeah.
cigar. It is. This was a real surprise in terms of the Wild Bunch series. This one was really enjoyable. It's Nicaraguan Habano wrapper. Don't know much about the binder and the filler. They haven't disclosed much of it. But it was a real good cigar in terms of it had earthy notes. It had some nice chocolate flavors throughout it. A little bit of citrus in the background. A little of that what I term the baker's spice was in there as well. Excellent construction. I'd say medium to full strength, full bodied. Um, this was one of those I call perfect storm. I think it was, and what I mean by perfect storm is right blend for the right size. It just worked with this Corona Gorda real well. It's definitely a box split in my book.
Wow.
It's not getting a lot of attention. I think the Ortegas have kind of been getting released every month, and now there's a whole bunch more new stuff just hitting the market. But this is one, if you see it, I definitely recommend it. It's a real good smoke.
I found most of the other Wild Bunch releases to be a little underwhelming. And that's coming from a guy who really likes Ortega's smokes, right? Like, going back to the original 601s, I thought they were great. I thought the Murciélagos that he did were very, were very good, but they were very solid, right? And then, I thought his first releases, both the Natural and the Maduro of the Series, what do they call them, Series D?
Yep.
Yeah, those were all very good. And then, so I was really excited coming into these Wild Bunches, and I found a few of them to be, the few that I've tried to be fairly underwhelming so far. So I'll have to give this one a try.
Yeah. Yeah, this one I like. It's the smallest ring gauge of the set so far. So, but like I said, I just think that Corona Gorda it worked good, and this, like I said, it just was kind of flew under the radar. I think with everything coming out right now, it's good. It's a good cigar.
Excellent. Yeah, I've heard kind of mixed reviews on the Wild Bunch series stuff.
I think I've had a couple. I haven't had them all, but I've had I don't think I smoked the Island Jim, but I had the Iron Mike. And
That's the best one, the Island Jim, I think. I think it's going to appeal to the biggest audience too. The Iron Mike's a very niche type smoke. You got to like some of the profile of that.
I smoked Partagas Corona Especial, another vintage one. I should say that Mark Jr. and I did a trade for some vintage Cubans for some other mostly rare Fuente.
It was a cigar in the bottle and
cigar in the bottle.
Don Carlos Lancero.
And Don Carlos Lancero, yes. I'm still very happy with my trade. This cigar was fantastic. And the stick does not get great reviews. Now, the one I smoked again was from 1998, so I'm sure that had something to do with it. For me, it was plugged, but so here's the thing. I poked it twice. It burned a little hot, and then it settled down, and it was amazing. Like, it burned way better than the El Rey del Mundo that I did the same thing with. This burned amazing after I poked it twice. And again, after you poke it, it tends to get a little hot because more air is coming in. But then I think some of the tobacco kind of re-expands a little, and it burned great. It's had time to really mellow out, of course, and come together. The flavors were amazing. Huge amounts of that really tasty flavor, Cuban flavor profile. So much so that I really stuck with it, and man, did it pay off. It was just a flavor explosion in my mouth, as we say. Buy a box if you can stand to sit on these. I think some of the reviews that I read were talking about sticks that didn't have as much age, but I think if you're willing to put the age on them, this is a box-worthy cigar. Thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the ones that I've smoked as well.
Yeah, really good, right? Like,
I'm a big Partagas guy when it comes to
Yes.
Cuban cigars. Like, I think
Yes.
Partagas is up there amongst my favorite brands.
yeah, and I've got another
Partagas coming up.
Partagas coming up, the Series P, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Will, what else you been smoking?
Just smoked a new cigar. It's under the House of Emilio line. by Nomad Cigars, called the Nomad LE Esteli Lot 1386. Are you guys familiar with Nomad cigars at all?
I have
You
not
know-
got. I haven't gone there yet.
They sent us some samples, and I have not smoked them yet.
Yeah, so Nomad is founded by a guy named Fred Rui, who's absolutely not only a rising star, I think, in the cigar business, but just an overall great guy. His first release was actually made in the Dominican Republic. For this one, he actually went over to Esteli and made it in Nicaragua. And kind of that's the theme of Nomad is he's kind of wandering from place to place in terms of he's in the Dominican, now he's gone to Nicaragua, and he's maybe looking at Honduras in the future. This is an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper with a Nicaraguan binder and filler. This is a Toro shape, so it comes in one size. It's a limited run of 343 boxes that he's making. This cigar was just loaded with complexity. It was just absolutely fantastic. It had a lot of natural tobacco flavor. It had cocoa in it. It had some pepper. It had an underlying creaminess throughout the smoke. So as you're getting a lot of these flavors, there's this creamy notion in the background that's real good. Some earth notes. Towards the end of this cigar, there's a kick. I mean, this cigar is just going to amp up in terms of strengths, and you're going to feel it at the end of it. And I've smoked a couple of these now. It's a real good cigar. Definitely a box split in my book, and it's a cigar worth checking out. You know, the Dominican Nomad is probably not as much in my flavor profile, but this LE was just fantastic.
Now, have you posted this to your blog, Will?
This one has not been posted yet. There'll probably be a review out on this one next week.
Okay. Yeah, you can
I'm still kind of working through some of the smokes on it.
Awesome. You can visit cigar-coop.com to find all of Will's reviews, which is a fantastic website. Yeah, I was scrolling through to look at it. So.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Some of them were out that I've talked about, but there are some I haven't posted yet. So you're getting first information on Stogie Geeks.
Yeah, I was going to say we get a little sneak preview.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. I did an Orville Trappist Ale. This obviously is not a cigar, but a beer. And one of the things that Mark Jr. and I talked about was including some libations, as it were, in the mix. And I chose one that I've had quite a few of, not in a row because it's like 7% alcohol, but the Trappist ales are just awesome. If you haven't tried a Trappist ale, certainly do so. Orville makes probably one of the better ones, if not the best. The Orville Trappist Brewery makes only one beer for the general public. It has an I'm reading from a quote here, intensely aromatic and dry character. Between the first and second fermentations, there's also an additional dry hopping process. Although it doesn't have that like real IPA kick to it, it's a very, very mild hoppy flavor. Or I don't know. I guess hoppiness is a flavor.
Sure, it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it is. And the Belgians do I think the best job of
hopping their beer, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I love IPAs, right? But I love them in their context, right?
Yes.
Which is when it's really hot and they're really cold.
Yes.
Well, and I'm not smoking a cigar or anything like that. But
I'm
the
glad you said
Belgians
that.
do that in a way that I think the Belgians make the best beer in terms of smoking a cigar with that beer.
Yes, I would agree. This is one of my favorite beers of all time. The trick to drinking it, and I'm glad you pointed that out, is it can't be ice cold. You don't want to put this on ice or make it super cold. It should almost be like in that 40-degree Fahrenheit kind of range, or maybe even a little warmer. I've actually got a beverage refrigerator that doesn't get super, super cold. That's just enough to keep like sodas cold and water and stuff like that. And that's where I'll actually put or if you get a wine refrigerator that goes like 54, that's a good place to put the Trappist ales too. And you got to pour it into a glass with a really wide open mouth like I have here in the picture. I actually bought this glass at Pier 1, the girly decoration store, but they've got beer glasses. And so this looks like a wine glass. As you can see, it's a chalice. It looks like a wine glass. The thing with a wine glass is that, the glass is kind of thin, and it's meant for wine.
It doesn't look thin.
This is some really thick glass, right? So when we're really drunk and we knock it over, it doesn't break. I think you should try this with a cigar.
Is this from Belgium?
No, I bought this at the store.
No,
Like, yeah, but
it's
no,
the beer from Belgium.
yeah, well, but so I should clarify my stupid comment. Some, like, when you go to Belgium and they brew the beer in Belgium with their water in their factory, it tastes different than some of them, and I'm not sure which ones. Some of them will actually brew it here with the same ingredients, but use the water in the U.S., and those tend to be different. Like triple Carmelite, for example, I had like at a little pub like in Belgium, probably close to where they brew it. It was the best beer I ever had in my life, hands down, best beer I ever had in my life. I bought a bottle back here, and it was completely different. Not completely different, but it was nowhere near as good. Steve?
I travel with Jack Daniel. He's quite an Ommegang
yes.
enthusiast, strictly Belgian, and he actually told me that. So they have a pretty good process over there because they use local water. Not all New York water is bad. The water they use.
Well, they're in Cooperstown. New York.
Yeah. So of course, far from the city, and apparently they have such a good thing going with their customized yeast and such for the Ommegang brewery that they sell very well in Belgium. So Belgium people buy Belgium-style beers from the U.S.
That's pretty crazy.
I was gonna say that the Ommegang Trappist, what is it? The monastery?
Three Philosophers?
No, the other one.
They get a lot.
They got a
Game
lot.
of Thrones.
The other really famous one, though. Like the one that you see at every beer store. I love that. I buy it all the time. And I'm going to think of it before the end of the show. So
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Okay. Will, was there any libations you wanted to mention?
Not this week.
Okay.
Yep.
Then
Go ahead,
I'll
Mark.
do my next smoke.
Go
my
for it.
next smoke is the Viaje Exclusivo Double-Edged Sword jar release from 2013.
Ooh, it looks so pretty.
It's a 6.5 by 50 double perfecto. It's a Nicaraguan Puro with a Criollo wrapper. These are pricey. They're $18 a piece.
Yowza!
But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they came in the jar.
Yeah.
Because the Exclusivo line is usually not that expensive.
So I see. You can charge more for your cigar if it comes in a jar.
Well, you're paying for the packaging, right?
Oh,
You got to
okay.
recoup the cost somehow, right? This has a lot of the same flavors that you'd be accustomed to with this blend. The unmistakable crispness to the wrapper, smell is there, and to the flavor of the smoke, with some cedar and earth. I do have to say that this one kind of fell apart a little bit for me in the final third.
Fell apart like flavor-wise?
Flavor-wise, yeah. And I would say fiver because with some age that may calm that finish down a little bit and, be something that maybe end up being pretty good. Because I'll tell you one thing, that the original ones of the double-edged swords were fantastic. And it's the Ommegang Abbey Ale is the name of the thing.
Abbey Ale, yep.
Okay.
Alrighty. I had a La Aurora Cameroon Robusto. I do enjoy the smoke on a fairly regular basis. I think I bought a box of them on auction. It doesn't have the wow factor for me. I mean, it's probably got some age on it. The flavors were there, but they were kind of subtle. I much prefer actually the newer Cameroon blend. So La Aurora makes a new Cameroon blend, which I believe they amped up. I read something where they amped that newer blend up in strength. Is that true, Mark, Will?
I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, it's a little more kick to it. Patrick from the StogieGuys.com website says that he enjoyed all three Cameroon Robustos he sampled. He said they're $8 to $11 a piece. I probably got these for closer to $5. He says that he prefers, get this, the Cuban Crafters Cameroon or the H. Upman Vintage Cameroon, to name a couple. But he says this one has harmonious flavor, aromatic, resting smoke, outstanding combustion qualities. Shouldn't be ignored. And he gave it a 3.5 Stogies out of 5. So
just a little, I don't know if you've heard the news this week about that cigar, but La Aurora has announced the 110th anniversary smokes. And what they're doing is they're bringing the Corojo and the Cameroon back. And I talked to Barry Stein. I can email Barry Stein. they are going to be different blends yet again. So it's sounding like that there's a third Cameron blend that now is coming out.
Yeah,
for this 110.
Interesting.
Hey, I'll
Yep.
tell you one thing. They can make as many Cameroon
This is-
smokes as
yeah.
they want, dude, because they make an awesome Cameroon.
So
Absolutely.
my thing here is, why is the Lancero in the same blend so much better? Very well Oasis level with some age on it, but this Robusto is with age not Oasis.
different size.
Yeah,
Yeah, different
They're definitely
wrapper
tweaking
ratio.
the blend. Yeah, they're tweaking
Yeah.
the blend heavily for the different sizes. You want me to go? I'll go again, since I have. So
I only
many.
have one more left.
All right. Partagas Series P number 2. This was also a vintage smoke. This is obviously a Cuban Puro. What a fantastic smoke. Wonderful flavors, lots of cedar, even hints of citrus that I get from this smoke, which I really enjoyed. And I think to have something that has that nice Cuban cedar flavor and then also balance in that hint of citrus is what really sets this one apart for me. The draw is a little snug, but didn't have to poke it. I really love the size. How can you go wrong with a Cuban Partagas, right? This was Cigar Aficionado's number 4 cigar in 2011. They say that the Partagas Series P number 2 is popular smoke with the regular Cuban cigar portfolio. It's scored in the upper 80s. They said in recent years, though, these cigars have gone from good to great. 2006 version scored 90 points. It crept up to 2000. In 2009, crept up to 91. And then last year, so in 2010, it got a classic 94 score for Cigar Aficionado. So kind of interesting. We said this before, right? Like wines, the different years
Will be
are
better
different,
or
better
worse,
or
yeah.
worse, depending. And they were saying that in 2011 was when it hit its peak.
Now, this is completely just a speculation at my point, in my opinion. But I would assume that that's more. Cubans are going to be more susceptible to that simply
Yes.
because literally all of the tobacco in every Cuban comes from a incredibly small geographical location. And, you know, if that incredibly small geographical location doesn't get a ton of rain or gets way too much rain or doesn't get a lot of sunlight because they had a particularly stormy summer, right, their crops are going to be very susceptible
Now,
to that.
what year
to
was
that
the one that
variation.
you we traded for, Mark?
I think it was in 05.
Gotcha. It was good.
So,
I liked it.
Coop, you got one more?
Yeah, just pull up my notes here. The Latelier Maduro.
Okay.
Yep. So this one was just released actually prior to the trade show. I smoked the 54 ring gauge.
Okay.
This is a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. They're using that Sancti Spiritus, which they used on the wrapper of the original Latelier as the binder, along with a Nicaraguan binder. The Sancti Spiritus is actually from Ecuador, and it's it's meant to be a replacement for Pelo de Oro. It's got Nicaraguan filler. I love this cigar. This absolutely is. It's got those chocolatey flavors. It's got some nice spice to it. Flavorful right to the end. It's one of those cigars that has a great close to the cigar, so it's good from start to finish. Construction was impeccable on it. It's not the most complex cigar, so it's not going to do a lot of transitions in terms of flavors. It's not going to break any ground in terms of being a groundbreaking Maduro doing anything different, but it's just a really good Maduro. I think it's one of the best cigars Latelier has released. I happen to like the 54 ring gauge the best. It's actually a box-worthy cigar on my book.
Nice.
I haven't tried that size yet. I tried the smaller one. Was it a 44 or a 46 or something? Yeah.
44. Did you get more? I got a lot more spice on that 44.
I haven't tried the other sizes yet. So
Okay.
In the Maduro.
Yeah.
But I was very pleased by that. Again, it's either a 44 or a 46. It's not coming to me off the top of my head.
Well, there's a 46 in the selection special is the 46. It looks like a Maduro. It's not a Maduro. It's actually
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one with the white.
Okay, so that's the
wrapper.
44. That's the 44.
It's a 44. Okay, so the Lat 44 Maduro is the one
Yep.
that I tried, and it's very good.
I tell you what, I've been very pleased with everything I've smoked from Latelier.
Me too.
I like it a lot.
I agree.
They're doing great things.
All right, I got
You got one more,
my
Mark
final
Jr.?
smoke. Yep, my final smoke for the week was a redo again. but it's a Quesada Oktoberfest Kurz. It's the 4x50 Rothschild. The wrapper is Dominican Cibao Valley Habano, and it's a Dominican binder and filler. I kind of reached for this because after last week with the 6x64 that I'd smoked, it really made me want to have a size that I knew I really liked.
Yes.
Right? And we've talked about this cigar a lot, so I'm really not going to beat a dead horse here. But I will say that these are aging greatly, and these are box worthy without a doubt. Yep. As are most of the sizes.
Yeah.
In my estimation.
I've got quite a few Oktoberfest.
Yeah, you're a big fan.
I like the Oktoberfest. And speaking of beer, I'd like to try that with that Orville Trappist Ale.
Should do it up.
I bet you that would go really well together.
There you
go. I had an H. Upmann Magnum 46, and this is really just a funny story that I wanted to give some people some background information about from last episode. It's just a case of a plug cigar, and boy, did we try hard. It was poked and prodded more than, well, use your imagination.
Stogie Santa clipped it.
Yeah, Stogie Santa would not give up. At one point, I watched him cut the cigar in half and try and smoke it. And then moments later, finally, he laid it to rest at the bottom of the ashtray with this great look of disappointment on his face. And it was my cigar to begin with, and he was really upset about this vintage Cuban, which was originally Mark Jr.'s. But these things happen. It's okay. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. Cuban cigars will do that. They're not always the best construction. Maybe we can get the ones that...
Especially vintage ones, man.
Yeah, it's killer.
They had rashes where they were just horrible.
Maybe we can slice them open and separate the tobacco and roll our own cigars out of them. Although, but we'd have to know they're plugged before we smoke them.
Yeah.
And you just can't tell.
You just never know.
If there's a hard spot, maybe that'll be a problem. Maybe it won't. I don't know. My last cigar was an Abe Flores Grand Reserva. This is the half Corona. The wrapper's a Dominican Corojo 2006. The binder's Dominican. The filler's Dominican Corojo and Nicaraguan Habano. This comes from the PDR Cigars factory in the Dominican Republic. It's a 3.5 by 46. These are about $5 a stick, $241 for a box of 50 if you buy the box. That came from the Atlantic Cigar blog. I really loved the way the cigar started off. Nice blast of spice coupled with some sweetness. It was a real treat. From there, the spice and sweetness went away, and it was really just kind of a touch of earth and maybe leather. I have to say I liked the half Corona size. It was really cool. Maybe some of the larger sizes will be smoked differently. Maybe some age will pick up the complexity and the flavors in the second, third, and final third. And this was a small stick, so it was really hard to even kind of gauge thirds with it only being 3.5. So I'm saying try one. This to me was a good cigar that I think maybe even has some aging potential in a really cool size. I never had anything that was 3.5 by 46, so it's a very cool size.
Sounds good. Hey, so are we rounded out on our Stogies?
Yes. Let's
touch base on these real quick,
ahead.
And then we'll go to break. So. Coop, how's your Avo going?
It's going great. Getting a lot of the earthy flavors, some of the cocoa, a little of the cherry sweetness, and the pepper. The flavors kind of move in and out on this. I actually got a little flaky, which surprised me a bit. One thing about these Avos when I've smoked them is if you're the kind of guy who's going to inhale a cigar, this has a little bit of a looser drawer, so it can burn hot if you draw on this fast, but... I'm having no issues. I'm not drawing on it fast, and it's worthy of how I always remembered these.
Great.
Buck Jr.?
I'll tell you what. I'm a little bit more than halfway through mine right now, and it is remarkable, right? It started off a little bit muted to me, but it's gotten this sweetness in the middle that I can really only equate to a cereal type sweetness, right?
Yeah,
It's got this toasty, sugary, sweetness to it. That's all I'm thinking of is a bowl of cereal, right?
Yeah. And how often do you think of a bowl of cereal when you have a cigar?
I've never, ever, and
you're not one for weird flavor descriptions either.
No,
you're
I'm
very
not.
To the point. You're very conservative with your.
And I've really honestly been thinking about this through the entire like second, third. Like, what the hell is this flavor? And it's the only thing I can come up with. So,
that has to be one of the most remarkable cigars I've ever smoked.
anytime something makes me like really concentrate on what the flavors
what
are,
the flavors are.
yeah, like what is that?
Yeah.
You know, and well, I'm there right now. So,
It is the most flavorful cigar I think I've ever smoked.
It smells wicked good.
it's Oasis for sure.
For sure.
Without a
without
doubt.
even
Absolutely.
question, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It gets the highest rating.
If there was one higher,
If there was
It
one,
would
it
get
would get
that.
that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. My Opus X BBMF Maduro is just fantastic. I mean, it's burning fantastic. It's a very dark and rich tasting cigar. The flavors and the spice are really in your face, but the underlying sweetness and that dark cherry sweetness is just spot on with the other one that I smoked of this.
the
It
one
is
that
just-
you and I smoked together.
Oh my God! Like I could smoke these. I don't know if I'd smoke them all the time because it is very much kind of in your face. It's got some strength to it, obviously, and I'm now getting down to beyond the first half, which means it's really going to start picking up in intensity and strength. But the flavor profile is just amazing. The first third was not as strong in the strength, strength meter wise, but extremely enjoyable. Again, just a nice balance of spice and a little bit of leather and dark cherry sweetness. I love.
It was a pretty
I love,
special cigar. The one
yeah,
that
I tell you what, out of all the Opus, this one really stands out in my mind as being some of the best Opus.
the King Ding, if you
Yeah, yeah. I still would agree with that assessment. Alrighty. With that, we're going to take a short break, come back, and we've got a fabulous segment coming up. We're just going to talk about all kinds of stuff coming up. So don't miss this. We're going to go through, I don't even remember what was on the list, but I know it was fabulous. Will came up with the list for this segment, and it is just all kinds of different cigars and different tips about what was on the list now. I can't find it now.
one-time limited.
Yeah,
I gotta pull my.
limited releases, one-time limited, truly limited stuff. Might have been stuff in the cigar age that age well. It's going to be awesome. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.